Part 3, the teardown continues. No need to recap, let's just get to it. Short block time. I'm actually kind of surprised they use these Felpro head gaskets. I mean, they're good gaskets. I've taken, Rusty has it sat over there like in the corner for like almost 3 years. Just wire wheel them off. Threw them on this engine with those Felpro head gaskets and had no issues. I mean, it wasn't a ton of miles. I mean, a few thousand, but it was well over 300 passes. So, I mean, I could definitely reuse these head gaskets if I want. I'm not going to because I want to use a thinner head gasket. I'm not going to use a steel shim. I'm still going to use something that's a little more forgiving than a steel shim, but I don't know what it's called exactly, so I'll dig it out later. Anyways, I also tried to look up these pistons, just see if I could find they were overbore or whatever, but couldn't find anything other than another guy who was also trying to find information on these pistons. So basically what I need to do is, before I tear into the short block, is I'm going to try and see if I can check the deck height. I'm going to use this Pro 4 magnetic deck bridge and this IGAG digital, whatever, I can't remember what they're called at the moment. But I got it off Amazon. I'll of course link the stuff in the description. And I also want to see if it's overbore. I don't have a dial bore, whatever gauge. So I'm going to use just a snap gauge and a caliper. Well, we'll do the best we can. I mean, it's a good rough measurement. And actually, I'm not sure if there's any oil in there, so give me a second. I'll find out if there's any oil. Okay, here we go. I need to drain this sucker before I flip it if there's any oil in there. And the oil in the pan was already there. I was draining a filter. So, just FYI. Let's see here. They ship it with oil. Nada. So, don't have to worry about making a mess. Okay, let me set up here for a second. And we will check these bores. Get in there. Forget it. All set up to check the bore. Now, I've already checked a couple times, but you should always check multiple times just to confirm your results. Not some error the first time. So, got my large snap gauge. I'll stick it in this bore up against the piston to try and give us, a level reading. Move it around. I think there's right about there. Tighten it down. Pull it out. Get the caliper. It's zeroed out. Negative zero out. And let's see what we got. Well, looks like we are overboard. 30 over. On to the next. Quick interrupt. I know I didn't exactly use the correct tool to measure the bore, but I did get the same result 3 times, and I know it's overbore. I mean, it could be 40. Basically, back when I got the engine, I asked ATK if how much it was overboard, and they said it depends on the block. Sometimes they don't even bore them; they just lightly hone them. I mean, I just wanted to confirm that's overboard. Now I know that's the case. I mean, maybe when I get tore down to the bare block, I will buy or borrow a dial bore indicator. Then I would measure, all 8, various different heights. We'll see. I'm setting up for the next shot, and here's a few more things I'll point out real quick. This dial indicator, the battery was dead. It does come with a spare battery, but I think from the reviews and from my experience, I've only used this a few times, it goes through batteries pretty fast. So just, so you know. There's the battery size in case you're wondering. And the deck bridge, this is actually my first time using it. I've been collecting tools for various engine builds for a while, but it takes years to get some of these tools because they nickel and dime you. And this is kind of interesting. I get this freaking thing to slide off there. Come on. Good strong magnets. Oh, come on. They got these magnet covers, so if you want to stick it to your table, it doesn't, or some other surface that you don't want to stick to, no problem. And of course, thumb screws so you can lock in your gauge because it slides into there, or whatever position you're going to use. I'm also going to use this Proform tool right here, which of course I'll include in the description as well, to turn the engine. Now, you can just put a bolt in there, but when you go to back it up, if you want to go back and forth and don't have to go all the way around, the bolt could possibly loosen. So it's just easier to use like a tool like this where you put it on the balancer and turn it with your breaker bar back and forth. I really need to get a crank nut, and that's like a small tool with a hex end that just slides in there on the crank nose, just like the balancer. But I'll get one eventually. Anyways, I also thought I still got to pull these head gaskets off, and we'll check out the deck. So let's do that real quick. Yeah, it looks pretty decent. There was a little bit of oil in there. Anyways, I'm going to get back to setting up for this other shot. Well, it's been a minute, life, stuff, cold. Anyways, I'm all set up to do the test, check the deck height, and I also took out those head gaskets over here. These are the ones I'm going to be using. They're like a composite, and I want to say they're like 26 hundredths, and 26 thousandths. And these ones are, like 47, 9 thousandths or something. So a little thinner, not super thin. Not a steel shim thin, but every little bit helps sometimes. But before we can see if I can use those, I gotta check out this deck height. Well, before that, I want to ask you guys a question. Now, this is part 3, and some of the comments I had for part 2. People wanted to know about the heads, so if you want to make part 4 about what I measure and find on the cylinder heads, compare them, let me know in the comments below. I mean, I might do it anyway, but the next video I'm going to work on is going to be about my workshop, and then I gotta maybe do another one. I still got 2 other videos I gotta edit, so part 4 might be a minute, and if I don't do it about the heads, I'm going to work on something else, I think, before I get to the block. So just a heads up. But anyways, let's get to this. Okay, this is my first time using a deck bridge, so bear with me. If I'm doing this wrong, please let me know. Now, basically what we're trying to do is we're going to, like I said, we want to measure this outer ring, because this is a disc piston. So all that's inside doesn't really matter. This outer ring, about, I don't know, like maybe ½ inch around, is where we can contact the cylinder head. And not so much on this side where the chamber is, more so on this side. This will be our limited quench area, right? Just this little strip. This right here, not really quenching. So anyways, what I want to do is first I'm going to zero out the deck. We'll turn it on first. And then I'm going to put this deck bridge just right on the deck, flat on, and we'll zero it out. Okay. Then I'm going to move it over to here, so it rests just on that outer ring. And I will rotate the engine, and we'll see what the minimum number is. Let's see here. Just check my footage, and that was a terrible shot. It's really hard to tell on this little camera screen if I can see well on the gauge. So let's try this again. Zeroed. Okay, I just want either side of the top dead center, so there you go. This is the lowest number I've seen, 21.5 thousandths, which is, fairly decent. Stock, I believe, is about 25 thousandths. So they just did a minimal decking, or a few thousandths, and it's not much of a big deal. You combine that 21 with those other gaskets of 20 something, we've got more than enough clearance. Now I'm gonna try and get a little, see if I can get a little closer. Oh, a little bit the wrong way. Now I'm gonna call it. I'm going either side of it. That's it. 21.5 thousandths. Okay. Now next we want to check is the piston rock. More so on the cylinder head side. So I'm going to move this, loosen this thumb screw, turn the indicator. Well, I'm going to make sure it's still 0 on the deck. So I just moved it. Let's see what we got here. No, re-zero it. Okay, so we'll re-zero it on the deck. Thumb screw's tight. Move back onto the piston. Just the outs. Oh, get a little more towards the tip. Right there. Where we at? Okay, pretty much where we were roughly. Basically, what I want to check is the piston rock. All right, now take my thumbs on either side of the piston and try and rock it and see if we get any movement. No, I'm not really seeing any movement. I mean, I can feel it moving just a little, or it's probably just the whole engine moving to me. So this is why you check, I guess. Okay, so we know we're good there. We can use the head gasket we want. Let's continue the disassembly of the short block. Okay. Here is a prime example of multiple checks. I'm checking the other side before I move on to tearing down further. And as you can see, we have 19.5 thousandths. Let's see, you can see I zeroed it on the deck again. So, I mean, technically you should be checking every piston, but it looks like they might have decked one side more than the other on this block. I will check another piston, so here, give me a sec. Looks like 3's coming up, so we'll check that. I didn't want to bore you guys and make you watch me go through all of the cylinders. So here's the results. I mean, I originally wasn't going to, I was just going to check a couple and call it good, but things were looking kind of goofy. Here they are. Interesting. Still, I mean, I'll be able to use the head gasket I want, but just FYI, I mean, once again, this is not a new engine. It's not even a race engine or nothing like that. It's just a budget replacement engine. And I'm going to see what I can do to make it, a little better. Oh, this is also interesting too. When I was turning it over, let's see if I can get a good view of this. There was lots of oil in the rings apparently. So, pretty much, since it was sitting, if I would at least turned it over, it would have been good. But now I got to tear it down. Well, if it was going to run in a week or so, it'd probably be fine. And they would just wear that rust right out of it, normal operating. But I'm not, so we're tearing it down. Back to it here right in a minute.
Perfect.
Time for progress report. Okay, diamond cover, oil pan, fuel pump block off or off. There's silicone down there. Yeah, I don't know if that's typical, gasket, whatever. I never really messed with Vortex much. I'm not reusing that cover. It's going to go in a pile somewhere, someplace, forever. Oil pan, typical oil pan. Looks good. Not all rusty. Awesome. Now as for the short block, I still haven't torn it down yet, but here's what I got so far. Looks like they siliconed the gasket in a few spots, so I'm not going to be reusing it. I mean, I got something else I was going to plan on doing anyway, so we'll get to that. I still got to pull the timing chain, camshaft, oil pump, get that stuff off here in a few. But first I wanted to show you something. Now, I always try and use a specific kind of flashlight. Like this is a Harbor Freight flashlight right here. Well, actually, get it out of my pocket. It's like stuck. Come on! I got two right here, and they're both the newer LED ones. But some of them have this like yellow thing. See, I don't know if you can see that. I try not to use those when I'm videoing because that yellow can throw stuff off. I use, that's the one with the tassel on it right now, the non-tassel one. I use just the white one. Well, preferably the newer ones. The old ones don't really show as bright, especially now that I install these new lights, which is one of the videos I got to edit. So I'm more sidetracking. Anyways, here's what I noticed was very apparent when I pulled this apart. Some of these rods are pretty dang crusty. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. Crusty. Now, I think that's a little more than, just, sitting. That's just, let's lose, I don't know. I'm not gonna go off. I'll have to clean them up. I doubt it's really balanced anyway. I mean, so people want to say, oh, y'all mess up the balance, but whatever. Just more and more work. I have no clue what these numbers mean. 8, 8, 6, 6, 5, 5, 3, 3. I mean, well, that one, no, it's flipped over the other. I don't know. 2, 2. So I mean, I have no idea. That doesn't seem right to me. No clue what their method of checking and measuring stuff. It could be, makes sense to them, but it doesn't make sense to me. You can see plenty of more paint markings here and there from their checks for whatever. Also, before I forget, I pulled one of these because they looked odd to me. That is not a jam nut. These are supposed to be jam nuts. Not even a lock washer. So, definitely something I'll be changing. I'll add, a jam nut so that, vibration. I don't want this tray coming off and causing a big old mess, Anyways, let me get back to the teardown. I'll get this other junk off and we'll check that out. Alright. 7, 7, 8, 8, 6, 6, 5, 5. Don't worry, I'm marking the pistons. Now, before I show you the parts I just pulled off, I need to show you this before I forget yet again. It is machined for a mechanical fuel pump. Just so you know. There's another shot of that rusty rod. Nice. Okay, on to the stuff I pulled off. Timing chain looks good, but we got, and I'm not going to use this whatever the reluctor, I don't know what it's called. Anyways, back to timing chain. It looks like it's kind of, you know, got some kind of, if I can get in the light, self-clearancing going on. And you can see here's the plate. This is, of course, timing chain side. And this is cam side. So, interesting. We'll have to look into that. Then we got the milling M155 oil pump, which is the correct pump to use on this engine. It's a 3/4 tube. Good pump. I plan to reuse it. Well, probably on my donor engine, but still good pump. Not going to be using this, of course. I got a metal collar one. Of course, my freaking camshaft handle didn't fit. It's for, you know, older style, smaller bolt pattern, not the roller cams. But cam looks good, other than a few small spots, like there's a little bit of rust. If I can get it at the right angle, right there on that lobe. Nothing big. I mean, the roller doesn't ride right there as much, so you know, I'll touch up the cam, oil it, grease it, whatever, store it, and it'll be good. The main thing is, well, this is interesting to me. I mean, they used 4 different types of main bolt fasteners. I mean, 5 if you include these tray studs. But here, let's see. There's a slight dish large cross, deep dish small cross, no dish large cross, and where is it? Oh, dish large cross. So that's 4 different bolts from, you know, 4 different engines, whatever. They must throw them in a pile. I mean, a bolt is a bolt as long as it torques and stretches the amount you need to hold tight. So, I mean, I already planned on replacing these 2 bolts with more tray bolts, you know, so I can have a longer tray. I mean, it's, I guess I would say it's a little disheartening, I want to use, maybe. I don't know. It's, I mean, the rust, the cold, the meh. You know what? I don't care about tearing the rest of the short block down right now. I'm moving on. I'm going to do my workshop. I'll take it in there, tear the rest of down the rest of the way, and let you know what I find. Maybe that'll be part 4. Part 4 will be the rotating and the cylinder head assessment. I mean, at this point, I mean, yes, it is a budget engine. I didn't pay top dollar for hot rod stuff. But still, it's, you know, my care is from here to here. You know, my care meter's down. I mean, I don't care at this point. Oh well, what's another couple more weeks? So, like I said, my next video is going to be about my workshop. I need to get that in order so I can do stuff over the winter because it is too cold out here. And then I'll deal with this. I mean, I didn't want to do too much in there other than just modify the block because my workshop is the opposite of a clean room. It is a dirty room. So, I mean, I plan to build my donor Vortec engine in there because I don't care about that one. But technically now this engine's kind of on the same level maybe a little. I mean, I still got to look into that timing chain. I mean, it is what it is. We'll see what we can do. Thanks for watching. I hope this helps. Keep it real.